Okay, I've got a couple parts here that I want to prepare for 3D printing, and I'm gonna go run through that process real quick. So let's grab one of them, maybe this piece here, and just make sure it's on its own little layer. I've got a gauges layer here. So I'm gonna say File, Export STL, and I've got my parts organized here. In the main folder is just bare parts like these gauges by themselves, and then I have a supported folder which has the part with all the supports that lets you print the thing. So let's name this gauges, and I want to check selection only, so it exports only that part, and the scale can be whatever you want. For me, I'm doing 125, but that depends on your model, what you need. So export, and you can open up a new Blender here and kill that, and let's say File, Import STL, and let's look for that. Where is it? Gauges. Oh, I'm in my supported folder, so gauges are here. Shift A to zoom in on it. Let me turn on my screencast. So Shift A will zoom in on this gauges. And so the trick is we want everything to be at kind of a 45-degree angle, which it sort of is already, but we can also maybe tilt it this way. So if we look at it from the side view, if I press spacebar and go to the right view, let's try to make it like a 45-degree angle-ish. And then if I go to the front view, same thing. Well, like that. And I'm trying to make this thing come down to a point, sort of like a diamond shape, or I don't know. The bottom should be a point, if possible. And luckily we have the possibility here, or we could go like this. The other thing to keep in mind is that all the surfaces that are facing upwards are going to be much cleaner and more perfect than the surfaces that are facing downwards, because we have all the supports touching down here. So if you want to hide ugly surfaces, you're going to hide them facing down. Maybe facing up, I want all this detail, so I'll face it upwards. Sorry about the allergies. I sound like a duck, as usual. Okay, so this I think is good enough for now. And so the trick is, I'm gonna make a new layer by first just putting my cursor somewhere using middle mouse, Control Shift A, and I want a curve, path. So with the path, let me do Control D, or sorry, Shift D to make a copy of this path. Let me Control Shift Alt and click to select the whole curve and delete it. Sorry, Control, what was that? X, delete vertices. So now I've got a curve point here. And the awesome thing about these points is we can snap them. So click the magnet and grab this thing. Let's snap it to faces, and then stick it right here. So I'm looking for the lowest point actually. So maybe like right here. If I press G, stick it on the lowest point there, and then Shift D, and I can make multiple points, and they're all stuck to that surface, which is really, really nice. So anytime there's a floating island, like let's say this part right here, I need to add another dot there. These guys need add 2 if it's a bigger one. Should I make these on the bottoms of the circle? Since this is a big part here, I'll put a couple more. Okay. All right, so I think this will be good. I'm trying to imagine any undercuts here that are at an extreme angle. These angles are okay because they're kind of shallow. It's more like 45 degrees, I think is safe. That looks like 45 degrees about right here too. It's just these little islands that I guess start in midair that need help. And also any kind of flat bridges that go horizontally are going to need a lot of help. Okay, so now I've got all these parts. I'm going to press Z to move down a little bit. Z to move down some more. SZ0 to flatten. Bring that up here. And then let's do EZ like that. All right. Okay, so now we can get our curve in the modifiers panel of our curve item. We've got a bunch of options. So let's give this a bevel depth of 1.5 millimeters. So these are now 1.5 millimeters. Fill should be full. And actually this, maybe we can get away with 1 millimeter for this stuff here. Okay, so now let me grab all this stuff on the bottom. I'm holding Control, just lassoing. Control 3 to grab the next batch up, and then Control I to invert. So now I've got all the top points selected, and I can do Alt S and drag in to make that smaller. Okay, so these triangles are kind of hitting everything, so I'm going to say Control I, G, to move it down a little bit. Maybe deselect all the bottom, Control Shift, drag, and then Alt S to make these a little bit smaller. And then some of these will need to be moved around a little bit. You can turn off snapping now, I think. This one. Just trying to get these out of the way a little bit. Okay, and you can change the resolution if you want, but actually that might be okay. I mean, squares are nice because they take up a lot less memory, and they're much faster for slicing later on, but it's up to you. This is a pretty small model anyway, so maybe it's okay. But anyways, alright, so I'm happy with my positions here, so I'm going to grab all of this stuff here. Alt S. Oops. Alt S. Make that pretty wide. Alt S. I'm trying to make like an overhang lip here, so when I'm scraping the plate later on, it'll kind of dig itself off the plate easily. So that overhang helps with that. Alright, so let me just make sure there's nothing colliding into the model. Okay. Alright, that looks okay, but the problem is we have a bunch of holes on the top and the bottom. So I don't know of a way to fix this procedurally. There's just fill caps, but it doesn't do anything in this case, so but it's okay. We can just make a copy. So Shift D to make a copy, M, and let's move this copy onto the second layer here. So we have in case we need to edit. But anyway, this one, I'm going to say select the old one, Alt C, and mesh from curve. And then now we have a mesh. And whoa. See, I don't want all this resolution here. This is kind of useless. So let's check the resolution and make that a little bit lower. Oh damn, why does it need that? Okay, maybe that is useful then. Alright. Mesh. A to select everything. 4 to select borders, which grabs all these holes. And then F to fill. So A, 4, and Shift A will zoom in on a hole if you have one. So let's say I had a hole here. A, 4, Shift A, and then you could press F to fill it. Same thing on this model. I'm going to press A, 4, Shift A. A, you can say remove doubles to just make sure it's clean. Also, so now let's combine both of these. 1, 2, holding Shift, and Control J. And then 4, press 4 to look for any holes, and then Shift A. So there's no holes here. One last check is you can unify the normals, so that's Control N. Just make sure all the normals are good. Otherwise you'll have parts that are printing out backwards and inside out. Alright, so this looks good. We can say save this as or export as a STL. But this time I'll put it in my supported folder. Call it gauges S. And make sure all this stuff is good. You want scale of 1. Okay. And that's it. Thanks for watching.